That's not true.
Immediately no.
Immediately no. Because if you don't have the foundational pieces of your brand and you don't have where you're going, you don't have that goal, your brand is always just going to fall flat.
Right.
You're not going to make the real connections that actually lead to transactions because likes don't lead to leads.
Yeah.
Right? And if you are not putting out there the content that's going to make someone say, she's for me, like there's no other person, then your brand is not just going to magically be built.
Right.
So you have to take the time to do the inner work of figuring out who you are, maybe who you want to be.
Yeah.
And that is going to be the key to you being successful. So it's not just consistency, it's consistency with some strategy.
Welcome back to another episode of Above Asking. I'm your host, Alyssa Stalker, and we have a very special in-studio guest today. I want to welcome Candice Carciopolo, who is a brand coach. She's also a coach for Sell It by Sirhant, and she has been helping real estate agents build their brand for the last 7 years. Candice, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here.
I'm so excited that you're here. So we were just talking off camera a little bit, and I was getting a little bit of your background. And this always happens whenever especially when we're in the studio, because you get talking, you're like, wait, I wish that was rolling so we could talk about it. But tell us a little bit about your background, how you landed in helping real estate agents with branding and just kind of like all the things that you do.
So I was an educator for a long time. I taught middle school, 7th grade.
So you didn't tell me
history.
That yet. Okay.
And I got to a point where I felt like I was a single woman. I was in my 30s and my mid 30s. Yeah. And I was like, I need to make more money than this because I'm a little more bougie than I can afford to be at the moment. And I eventually started coaching teachers, and I realized some of the strategies that I was using in coaching teachers, backwards planning, setting goals, that kind of thing, I really enjoyed doing. And I knew I could take those skills and apply them outside of teaching. And so I started, people started hiring me to launch their yoga business or help with their t-shirt business. All teachers also have a side hustle. So they wanted help with setting goals outside of their classrooms. And I started doing that, and I just started thinking, I think I could actually do this on my own and make a lot more money than I'm making right now. And I eventually got my life coach certification, which really helped me. I hired a brand coach to help me understand how to build my brand so people would want to hire me.
Right.
And when I hired that brand coach, it was life-changing. I felt like what she taught me was magic.
Yeah.
And I felt like everyone needed to know about it.
Yeah.
And I really dove into studying branding myself and helping people understand that they can be known for whatever it is they want to be known for.
Yeah.
And it's just about how you convey yourself, how you put yourself out there. And so it's a long and windy road, but I ended up having my first life coaching client who was also a real estate agent. And she ended up making a lot of progress in her business, doubling her income in about 6 months. And she's like, I'm going to send all my friends to you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I got in the real estate world. My family also is in real estate, so I think that background helped me.
Yeah.
But yeah, ever since then, I've been coaching real estate agents, and I love it.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Well, we're excited to pick your brain today. I have a lot of questions, but I want to start with something I think a lot of agents feel, but they can't fully name, especially with their branding. I feel like there's a lot of confusion between having a social media presence and actually having a personal brand. And I think they hear both things, but when it comes to a personal brand, what does that actually mean, and how does that connect to their content, and possibly what is the gap that they have right now that they're facing?
Yep. So there is confusion between a personal brand and social media. I like to think that social media is a tool that allows you to showcase your personal brand, but it's absolutely possible for you to have a personal brand and not yet put it out in the online space. a personal brand can be as simple as you walking into a room and someone knows what question to ask you because they already know what you do. Kind of like your reputation precedes you.
Right.
It's that idea that people know what you do. They know who you help. They know who the right person to connect you with is because they understand your brand.
Yeah.
And that can happen in real life without social media.
Right.
So that's one thing, personal branding. And then social media is the tool that allows you to amplify your personal brand.
Yeah.
And I think that the confusion often is, I don't know what to post. That's what we hear day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
And the I don't know what to post really is, I don't know who I am.
Mm.
And once you get really clear on who you are, or maybe I'm not yet who I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get really clear on that, I think that's where the wheels start turning and you can have momentum towards actually building something that's impactful and that allows people to know you.
Yeah. I think that's such a thought-provoking thing because I hear that from agents all the time where when you talk about branding or you sit down with them and you try to kind of pull out of them like, well, what are you all about? What's like your unique value? Or, what do you like? What's the feeling you want someone to have working with you? A lot of the times they don't yet know, like they don't know how to like package that up. And I think that is the huge difference between an agent who's showing up on social and does have a brand and then the one that's showing up on social doesn't. There's no like glue connecting them to other people. And I think like your brand is how people know how to relate with you.
Yes.
Like how do we fit together? How, especially like in a client relationship, like how do I know that you're the person for me to choose when there's a sea of options, right?
Yes.
So I feel like that's a huge struggle for agents that I personally see. So when you work with people on their brand identity, is there like a pattern that you see a lot, like something that agents initially get wrong, like before they come to work with you?
Yeah. They think that showing up online is having to create an image that's not them. And what I really want from my clients is I want them to just do what they are doing regularly and showcase that online.
Right.
That's really what I care about. And what I find is when I ground my clients in actual experiences that they've had. So for example, I tell them, tell me about your favorite client, right? They can immediately tell me about their favorite client. And I said, if I called your favorite client right now, what would they say about you? They know what they would say.
Yeah.
And I want them to really ground in that and say, okay, how can we get more favorite clients in front of you? How can you get in front of them?
Yeah.
And that's usually helpful because when it's more abstract, like, what do you want to be known for? Or what do you value?
Right.
That's really hard. But I can open up someone's calendar and I could tell you what they value.
Right.
By how they spend their time, who they spend their time with, right? And so I like to get really concrete and like, I get nosy. Like, let's see your calendar. Let's see the emails that you've been sending. Let's see the DMs. Let's see the text messages. Yeah. Because there is gold in all of those things that will tell me what people think about you, how they relate to you. And then you can decide, do I want more of that?
Yeah.
Or do I want to shift that?
Yeah, I love that. I feel like that's such a unique way to approach it as well. Like, I think they can't find the words to describe necessarily.
Yes.
And if you're a real estate agent, what you do is in helping clients, in working in the weeds of the transaction, negotiating, having service, but it's hard wearing all of the hats that a real estate agent wears. So when it comes to marketing, a lot of the times they have the sales skills or the personality, but then they just don't know like how to connect it all and say, how do I make this a brand? Or sometimes like I'll talk to people and it'll be like, wait, that could be a part of my brand. Like that's just something like how I am, like a personality trait or something like that. And
that's why my role exists.
I love it.
Right? I help you figure all of that out.
That's so cool. I love that you actually like open the calendar.
Oh yeah.
And that's so cool because I think that there's a misconception that branding often is tied to fonts or a color palette. And we talk about that on the show a lot. And there's so much more to it than that.
I would love to give you an example that I use all the time with my clients.
Yes.
So I like to think about your brand like a cake.
Yeah.
I'm going to start from the beginning. Imagine you're going to, it's your son's birthday, and you are going to a bakery and you're grabbing the perfect birthday cake, and it has white frosting and perfect sprinkles. And you're like, this is the one. Like, this screams birthday. And you grab the cake and you take it home, and it's beautiful. And you get the pictures and you post it on Instagram. Great. You sing happy birthday, you cut open that cake. It's dry and crumbly inside. Are you going back to that bakery?
Heck no.
Heck no. Are you referring your friends to that bakery?
No.
No. You might even write a bad Yelp review.
Maybe.
Right? So they're not getting tagged in your story. You're not talking about them. You're not sharing. So they got you in because they had a pretty outside.
Right.
But when you actually went through the entire experience, you realized that they didn't give you what you actually wanted.
Right.
And so your brand ends there. The baker's brand, the bakery, that brand ends there.
Right.
And so when we're talking about a real estate agent's brand, there's two parts. There's the inside of the cake, and then there's the frosting.
Yeah.
And the frosting is your colors, your logos, your fonts. It's everything that people see on the outside. But the inside is the part that really gets people coming back for more.
Yeah.
It gets people to actually refer the next client.
Right.
And the inside is the hard part that you just named earlier.
Yeah.
Like, who am I? Who do I help? What do I value? What makes me different?
Yeah.
And that's the part that people are skipping right now. That makes everything else harder.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love the cake. That's an interesting perspective as well, from like the standpoint that it's not just in how you acquire the client, like your brand shows through like every step of the transaction, like the little details, the little touches, just how you communicate, how you deliver the whole service. And there's some interesting stats, and don't quote me on these numbers because I didn't prepare to talk about this, so don't fact check me on this, but somewhere around, I want to say I recently saw, and there's lots of different NAR studies and reports, and sometimes depending on how you look at them, they contradict themselves. But there was one I saw recently that was like 87% of people said that they were satisfied with their real estate agent, but only like 17% repeat hire that person. And I think that's probably where that impact from like start to finish and even beyond the transaction, like how you stay top of mind reflects, right?
Yes,
with your brand.
I read a stat similar to that about how most people couldn't name their real estate agent as little as 3 years later.
Wow.
Like they couldn't even give you the real estate agent's name. And that is because that agent did not create an impact during that process and has likely not been following up, hasn't been in front of them on Instagram, hasn't been in their email inbox, hasn't checked in on them, right? And so if you want that repeat business, then you need to know your brand. And if you're showing up on social media not understanding that, then you kind of have that hollow brand that people can't actually connect with.
Yeah. What would you say to people who you work closely with a brokerage when people are trying to find either that connection or just enough separation between like personal brand as an agent and brokerage? Because obviously, if you make moves, you can't take it with you. And so how do you find that connection, or maybe you disconnect a little bit if all you've been doing is going under your brokerage brand?
I think 100% of the time you go all in on your personal brand, no matter which brokerage you're with, because you're always going to take that with you. Now, you use your brokerage's brand to amplify your personal brand and build networks and connections within that.
Yeah.
That's the goal. It's not to rely on their brand, because it's very possible that you're going to be with several brokerages in your career.
Yeah.
So you always want to take your personal brand with you. That's the only thing you can take with you. So you need to invest in it.
Yeah. I love that. I think too, a lot of the times agents, especially when they're new, they forget that they are a business owner. They have their own business, and where you hang your license is kind of, like you said, like it's there to amplify, it's there to support. It's kind of like when you're a new agent, all these different brokerages come out and approach you and try to sell you like, join us, join us, join us. And you don't realize that like you're actually in the seat to interview them.
Yeah.
You kind of feel like you're going on an interview as like a brand new baby agent. And I don't think new agents put enough weight on, I need to develop a brand because I have a business now. Like, this is a business. It needs a brand,
Yes.
right?
New agents don't know the questions to ask because they wouldn't, because they don't have the experience of what they might need support from their brokerage with.
Yeah.
And so that's a common place to be, which reiterates why it's so important to build that personal brand, because your first brokerage is probably not going to be your last.
Probably not. I think when I was an agent, I want to say at the time it was an average, you make a move an average of 3 times, like in your first 7 years.
Wow.
Which for agents who stick with the business, because real estate has such a high failure rate after the first year. So that's a lot of moves, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of movement. And we're in this era of consolidation. Acquisitions and mergers are happening. The business is changing a lot.
Yeah.
So I think now more than ever, it absolutely matters. Like, especially if you're brand new, you're watching this, you're listening to this, like, I would consider that one of your very first things that you should map out for your business. Like, I think you should come up with a business plan. I think you should have goals, but I think you need to know what your brand is and what you're setting out to do with it. Like, who are you speaking to? You know, what do you think about that?
I recently made a reel about how brokerage is basically consolidating right now.
Yeah.
How it's so important for you to have your own personal brand in this case, because let's say I'm a Compass agent and I have all of the same resources as the Compass agent next to me. Mm-hmm. And when I go to my listing presentation, I'm saying all the same words because we have this technology, and I'm showing the same presentation, and I'm talking about the same things that I have to offer from Compass. The agent next to me is also saying that.
Right.
What's going to differentiate you in a case like that? And it's only going to be your personal brand.
Yeah.
So it's how you bring yourself into that is going to be really key when everyone's going with the same resources.
I love that. I want to ask you too, while we're talking about like new agents, and when it comes to developing their brand and kind of like who they're for, who they want to work with, or who they maybe want to be, like, because they don't yet know oftentimes. And I think a struggle with new agents is they're just looking for experience. They're like, I'll take anybody. Yeah. I just want a deal. I want the experience under my belt. I want to learn. And I've coached a lot of new agents, especially like in the past when I used to do mentorship, and a lot of them never feel quite ready to transact. Like they don't know enough. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing about real estate is you'll never know everything because you learn from literally every transaction. Right. Like I've had brokers who've been in the business for decades, and I'd have something come up in a transaction and they would be like, well, this is a first. So if you're new, first of all, you'll never know everything. But I think what you should know is your brand. So like, what would you say to a new agent? Like if they don't know who they can help yet, or don't feel capable yet, maybe they want to find their way in luxury, or maybe they want to do this. How do you help them find that lane, like from the get-go?
The first thing I would tell them is to partner with an experienced agent. So I would find an agent in your brokerage that you want to have a business like theirs. So maybe they are in luxury. And then you go to them and say, like, I really want to learn from you, and this is what I'm willing to contribute. Yeah. And that's investing in your brand, because people are afraid to do that in the beginning, especially because like, oh, now I have to split even more, or I have to pay, extra. Yes, you do, because that's an investment in your brand in the long term. So you absolutely want to borrow the expertise of senior agents who have a brand that you actually like. Yeah. And that's really important too, is like how they do business the way you want to do business. Because there's people who buy leads. There's people who do strictly SOI businesses. There's people who do lots of different types of transacting or ways of getting their clients. So you want to align with someone whose way of getting their clients is aligned with how you want to do it. Do you want to be calling FSBOs? Some agents are excellent at that. And if you want that, you should line up with them, right? So figure out how you want to build your business. Find the person who already does that, and figure out what you're willing to contribute, give up, invest to allow yourself to learn that. And through that process, you will understand more of how you can build what you actually want.
Yeah.
But people like to skip the investing in themselves, and they really can't.
Yeah. Or sometimes I think it's hard for them to like define or to know who to align with per se. Like sometimes they get through the part of real estate school, getting the license, and now they like picked a brokerage and they're kind of like it's sort of like analysis paralysis of what do I do next? Where do I go? Where do I even get started? And I remember as a new agent, I struggled with that. And I think that's such good advice because there wasn't really anybody who was building their business in my office
you wanted to.
the way I wanted to.
But that should tell you a lot.
It was so hard. Yeah, because this was in the early days of social media. Reels weren't even out yet. And my husband and I were flipping properties and I was documenting it on social media. Like I was doing stories like, here I am at this house today and this is what we're doing. And people just started kind of like following along my day with that. And then I posted local content. So it kind of organically went that way anyway. And I think that's how agents learn to use social media in the long run. But in the early days, there was nobody in my like area or my office that was doing that. And I remember even like being laughed at, like, that's how you're going to get business? And I was like, well, I hope so. I mean, I've done this. I've been in marketing. I've done this with other businesses. Social media is really powerful because before that, I was like in the e-commerce space and products are all over social media. Yep. So it was just, that's interesting because I think that's such good advice. And it's advice I wish I had.
And if you're at a brokerage where you feel like you're not in alignment with someone who could do that for you, like now we have the ability to hop online and be like, this agent, that agent. And then you can pull out what are the similarities between those agents that you know you want to replicate.
Yeah.
And where can you find that? Because it's probably at a brokerage not too far from you.
Yeah. That's true. And also cloud-based brokerages have really opened the door to align yourself with truly anybody that you want to work with, if that's your thing. So that's great. I love that. So there's this idea that, and this is something we talk about a lot here too, that if you just stay consistent, the brand will compound. It'll come together over time. What do you think about that?
That's not true.
Immediately no.
Immediately no. Because if you don't have the foundational pieces of your brand and you don't have where you're going, you don't have that goal, your brand is always just going to fall flat.
Right.
You're not going to make the real connections that actually lead to transactions because likes don't lead to leads.
Yeah.
Right? And if you are not putting out there the content that's going to make someone say, she's for me, like there's no other person, then your brand is not just going to magically be built.
Right.
So you have to take the time to do the inner work of figuring out who you are, or maybe who you want to be.
Yeah.
And that is going to be the key to you being successful. So it's not just consistency, it's consistency with some strategy.
Yeah. I feel like the fact that you were a life coach is really huge for how you approach the brand. And that's something I didn't know about you because I followed you for a long time.
I don't talk about that
and
ever,
I
really.
didn't know that. But like, not only is it just understanding who you are, where you want to be in life, what your goals are, what you want your business to look like, all of that actually matters to the branding process.
It does.
And I've worked with a lot of brand designers and like, branding people over the years, but I don't think I've ever had someone take that specific approach with it. Like they're very talented and creative and they make beautiful work. Everyone has a process, but I feel like that is such a unique and special way to look at it.
I always joke that I found a way to get paid to be nosy. Because I really want to know you so I can understand why you show up the way you are, why you're so invested in building this thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I might ask you questions like, why'd you get divorced?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Because there might be some fear in there. There might be some pain in there that is making you show up a certain way.
Yeah.
And maybe you can use that. Or maybe we need to work on that so you can show up differently.
Yeah.
Right? Or, what's your biggest fear? What do you wish people would say about you? What do they currently say about you? And those kinds of questions allow me to understand someone as a human and their motivation. And if you don't understand your motivation, you're never going to be clear about your brand.
Yeah. That's like bringing human design to brand design.
Yeah.
Because it's personal.
It is personal.
You are your brand.
Yes. And if you're trying to emulate someone else's brand, but they don't have the life that you want, then it's not going to work for you. There's always going to be friction.
Right.
So both of those things need to be working together. Your brand should support the life that you actually want.
And also that's why content falls flat for so many people, because they see something working for someone else and they're like, oh, I'll just copy that trend or I'll copy that idea.
Yeah.
And it does fall flat. It doesn't work for them because they haven't figured out how to like make it uniquely theirs. And that's something that I see all the time.
Yep.
So with that said, what does it actually look like to build a clear point of view in your brand? And I think that phrase does get thrown around a lot, but I want to know what it means to you when someone is actually doing that very well.
If you have a clear point of view, you understand who you help and you understand how you help them. And this part gets challenging for people because so many people are afraid of leaving people out.
Yeah.
But you cannot be for everyone. You have to take a stance and you have to own the way that you approach your business, the way that you approach serving your clients. And it's going to be for the right person. And then you're going to have a way healthier, happier business because you're serving people who actually want and need what you offer.
Yeah.
Instead of feeling like you're like, ooh, dreading seeing that client because they're the wrong one for you. And you knew it when you took the listing.
Yeah.
Right? But they're somehow ended up in front of you and you said yes.
Yeah.
Versus my clients who are happiest have hell yes clients.
Yeah.
Right? They have clients who are like, I would go on vacation with them. Right? Like these are my people. Right? And that's what I want for all of my clients. I want them to be able to say, hell yes, like that's my client. I enjoy working with them. We communicate well. I give them what they need. They feel satisfied. I feel satisfied because they're not nagging me. Because we're the right fit.
Yeah.
So you need to figure out who you serve and you need to get over leaving people out. If you are not leaving people out, you're doing something wrong. And that doesn't mean you need to be an asshole. I don't know if I can cuss on here. It doesn't mean you need to be mean. If someone comes to you and you know they're not the right fit, you pass them on to someone who's the right fit. And you say, hey, thank you so much for reaching out. Based on the things that you shared with me, I really think that this person will be great for you.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that.
And that's it. It's that easy. And you get a referral fee.
I love it. I feel like we're going to give you permission to break up with the clients and the old identity that you don't want to be aligned with on this show.
One thing we haven't talked about yet, which I think is really important, is giving yourself permission to evolve.
Yeah.
I'm not the same coach that I was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Thank God. Right? And each of the experiences that I've had along the way have informed who I want to become.
Right.
And I'm continuously becoming. Right? And sometimes when people think that they have to build a brand, they think that every decision needs to be made today. And that decision is finite, which isn't true.
Yeah.
It's like if you picked your wedding dress when you were 10. Are you going to be happy about it when it becomes time to actually get married?
Yeah.
Probably not.
I wasn't happy with my wedding dress the day I got married, so.
Right? Like that time in between picking it out and the actual wedding, you decided something different.
Funny story, I didn't pick my dress for me. So there you go. You know what I mean? But it's the same thing.
You
like,
picked it to
please
someone else.
Yeah, I had other reasons for why I chose it. And so I ultimately, I love it. Like I look back, it's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it by any means.
She's backtracking here, y'all. She's like, someone's going to listen to this.
No, I don't. Mom, don't listen. No, just kidding. But it's true though. Like, and that's why, like, you always regret decisions that you don't make for yourself in some capacity.
Yes.
And I feel like it's the same approach to your business. And I can say this from experience that not with the wedding dress, but with the business that, any of the clients that I had that didn't actually come through social media, a referral of a past client who loved working with me, a lot of the times they were more difficult. I felt like I was being challenged on my expertise, and they were hard to work with. Whereas like, because I use social media to build my brand and that's how I acquired most of my business, it was like people already knew me. They knew what they were getting from me. And so I was a good match for them. And anybody else, if it was a random like online lead, or somehow I got it from a group of some kind somewhere, it just always ended up, there was a pattern there. Like, it always ended up being a tougher transaction or a mismatch of personalities.
Because you're trying to pack in trust building in this limited amount of time that you're doing this transaction with them.
Right.
Whereas the people who are coming to you from social media or even from referrals, they already have experienced you. They already trust you. Yeah. And even if you guys haven't interacted a lot, they're building a parasocial relationship with you online.
Right.
They already know what to expect from working with you, and they're sold, which is why they reached out.
Yeah.
And that's your brand helps to make those transactions seamless, and you're happier and your clients are happier when that's the case.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just even the process of getting someone to decide to work with you. It's like how that's going to go throughout the rest of time, or if that turns into repeat business, referral business. I think agents don't always consider that kind of like exponential reach, that snowball effect of just one good experience that stems from one post even, or something they talked about. They took a clear point of view on something. They took a stance on something. They shared that resonated with someone, and just what that ripple effect truly can have for their business. That's massive. Like, you can dial it back down to one action, but it creates this massive shift.
I'm so glad that you said that today. I was on the way over here on the freeway, stuck in traffic. I was reflecting on like the ripples in my business.
Yeah.
I'm going to just take you down memory lane for a little bit, these last 7 years.
Yeah.
So in 2020, I was on Clubhouse. And that's where I was in a real estate room. The app Clubhouse, y'all.
No.
I was in a real estate room talking about those early clients that I had helped.
Yeah.
That I, helped them double their income. And I was talking about what we did to build their brands.
Yeah.
And the president of Serhant Ventures was in the room, sent me a message on Clubhouse and said, we need to talk.
Wow.
I almost didn't go to that meeting because I was like, who am I to go to a meeting with Serhant? Like, they're incredible. I see them on, I saw Ryan at the time. I knew about his show, and I was really intimidated.
Oh, yeah.
I literally told my best friend, I'm not going. She's like, are you kidding me? You're freaking going. Like, put on your big girl pants.
Yeah.
So I went, I started working with Ryan. I was sitting in a penthouse in Las Vegas teaching about social media a couple months after that first meeting, next to Ryan Serhant.
Yeah.
I had Sharon Srivatsa on my podcast. I was featured on BAM. People are going to see me on this podcast.
Yeah.
And it's all because I said yes before I felt ready.
Yes.
And over again, great people introduced me to the next right person to allow people to see me with incredible human beings who've done amazing things for the real estate industry.
Yeah.
And because of that, my trust building with my audience is amplified.
Yeah.
And you're probably sitting there right now thinking like, oh gosh, Candice, like you just got lucky. Like that's not going to happen for me. And maybe I did get lucky, but luck is where preparedness and opportunity meet.
Right.
And I said yes to opportunity and prepared myself by studying the things that I cared about learning about and putting myself in rooms where I could possibly make those connections.
Right.
And it doesn't stop here.
Yeah.
Like I'm continuing to do this.
Yeah.
And no matter where you are right now, if you're an agent who hasn't sold your first house, that's something you can also do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think imposter syndrome is real, especially for real estate agents. And I love that you said that, because I think too, going into like the mindset shift of this and how you look at your brand, like you said something earlier, it was like who you want to become. Like that's a question like you try to find alignment in. And it's like when you try to take a big leap in your business, you're never truly ready, for the next level. You just kind of have to take the leap and know that you're going to figure it out along the way. But you almost have to, even when you don't feel like it, show up as that person. Like you have to show up as the person you want to be.
Absolutely.
To actually assume the role and get there at some point.
And the hardest part about that is the people around you who already know you.
Yeah.
That's where you feel tension, because they're going to be like, this isn't who you've been.
Right.
So who are you?
Yeah.
Are you now being fake? Or are you actually just allowing yourself to be who you want to be?
Yeah. Or grow or evolve, transform.
Yes.
I mean, those are all, that's just human nature, experience, environment. I mean, we all grow and change. And that's why you need to leave room for your brand to do the same thing.
Yes.
Because that's who you are.
Yeah.
Right?
And you could think about the biggest brands in the world, Coca-Cola. It doesn't look the same as it did when it started.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
So
that's great.
If they can do it, you can let yourself evolve too.
I love that. We went deep, y'all. We went deep on this. This is good. This has been such a fun conversation. So I know that you are cooking something up with us at Coffee and Contracts. Why don't you tell us about that?
So we are working on a collaborative piece.
Yeah.
Beyond this podcast, we are also creating a brand starter kit for you. So I'm teaching you how to use Coffee and Contracts to really build out a brand that has the look and feel that matches where you're going. So Coffee and Contracts has such incredible resources. I recommend it to all of my clients and everyone, really. Once I got in there, I was like, wow, these are so usable immediately.
Yeah.
So I love all of the things that are going on with Coffee and Contracts. And now I'm adding in the layer of making sure that you understand how to make them feel like you and connect with your clients.
Yeah.
So the brand kit is coming out, brand starter kit. And I hope it'll be in our show notes.
Yeah. You can definitely go to the show notes to grab that. I'm super excited for this because we get like DMs and comments and just member feedback all the time of like the results and the success that people are having.
Yes.
But the difference between the people who are seeing that and the people who feel like the pieces aren't coming together yet is really that approach to how they show up as themselves, how they customize it, how they brand it. Because you can have, the prettiest templates in the world, but if it's not speaking to who you are, who you serve, and in your brand voice, it's just like everything we just talked about, it's going to fall flat.
Yep.
And so that is like this big unlock. And I'm so glad that you're creating that for us. It's going to be an amazing resource. So definitely check that out in the show notes. And then tell us where everyone can follow you and find you and learn more from you.
Find me anywhere online, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of it, Candice Carciopolo. And I would love to talk to you. My DMs are always open. Don't be shy. Thank you so much for having me. And since we're recording still, I'd love to be back on. So you can't say no while we're recording. That'd be embarrassing.
No,
so,
I feel like we could have kept talking.
Amazing.
So this is the deal with this show. I try to keep it like consumable for agents, like while they're in the car in between showings. And so I try to actually keep the episodes around 20 minutes, but it's so hard when I have a guest. No, I mean, sometimes I break them into two parts because I want you to get like the meat of what we talk about in that short window. And I know from being an agent what it's like. It's hard to consume super long form content.
And a mom.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I would definitely love to have you back. I feel like we have so much more we can talk about. And I'd love to have you come and do a class inside the membership and Coffee and Contracts.
Let's do it.
Let's set something up for sure. That'd be super fun. All right. Well, thank you for being here. The resource that we just talked about, the brand starter kit, is in the show notes, as well as how you can find and follow Candice for all of her amazing knowledge and insights. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.